Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight we have Severe Lacerations, who are a UK old school death metal band who couldn't let the rotting corpse that is Severe Lacerations rot away and are well and truly back to haunt us all. And I, for one, am happy about that. So, tonight we have guitarist Lee and we have vocalist Max. So, it's great to finally catch up with you guys. We've got a lot to talk about. And how the devil are you?
All right.
All
Cool.
good, brother. All good.
Good.
Cool.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. So, but first of all, the band Severe Lacerations has been around since 2005, but it's really in the last couple of years with you guys, with you and Max, where things have really happened for the band. Now, I don't want you to take it personally, but in all the previous incantations of Severe Laceration, things like that, I thought it was going to be like a doom metal record. The length of time it took you to release a debut album. I don't know of many bands that can say it took them 20 years to record a debut album, but you must be absolutely delighted that it's finally out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a very proud moment. Absolutely.
It's always nice to see something printed on it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Max, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say Lee's got a lot to wear in this shirt there, like, and he should be proud of it because he was at the genesis of the band.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just kind of weird, kind of happenstance through Alan Rogan, great guy, great guitarist, leaving, and that was just about 3 months before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And then he kind of talked to Lee because they were friends at work, and they've got like mutual, personal friendships there as well. So basically, Lee got in touch with me. He goes, "Hey, Max, I want to jam with the band. I want to join the, I was like, whoa, because I thought we were dead in the water at that point.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we weren't. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the thing that happened there.
You've definitely had a lot of bad luck within the band, but absolutely brilliant that Lee just contacted you out of the blue like that and said, "I want to join the band again." So was it like the final kick in the backside that you really needed, Max, for this record to be released and out there?
No. We're talking back when this was happening. This is like pre-pandemic, the history around the record, as regards Phil and everything. So Lee was in the band there. What you're talking about, the kick in the backside there is would probably come later in the conversation, as to what happened, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, we're actually going
to. It was around the time that the band were almost at the cusp of getting the Death is the Shepherd of Mankind EP over the line.
Yeah.
And
I
think that never got finally recorded, and it was after I joined that we really pushed hard to finally get that EP track out. I think you guys, did you say you were at it for about 2 years, something like that, on and off?
We had setback after setback.
Yeah.
It was just one of the things.
Yeah.
I thought,
in relation to that EP, then, when you rejoined the band, Lee, did you tweak the songs in any way? Did you revisit them all again, or were you happy with them and it was just you recorded the EP?
Because them 3 songs were actually Phil's and Alan's, who was the guitarist who I replaced.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I changed, if you will, was adding solos to the parts where, previously there was none.
Okay.
So, I done them exactly how Phil wanted them done, and just said, can I put this over the top or see what you think? And he was cool with that. So yeah, it got done that way.
Yeah, cool. And on this topic of Phil, I mean, obviously, there's no doubt Phil put a lot of effort into the band, and he must have been frustrated at times that it was taking so long for a debut album or any form of release to be released. And we'll obviously talk about Phil throughout this interview. But how hard was it to convince yourself, Lee, who was out of the band for like 15 years and you returned in 2020? What was it that made you want to come back?
Well, basically, it was the opportunity was there in so much as having the chat with Alan, and it just felt like a lot of unfinished business.
Yeah.
You know, because we've been in the previous versions of the band, Closely Named and Bloodshed and what have you, but like I knew I had a lot to bring to the table. And when Phil first sent me the first recordings of like the demo recordings of the 3 tracks that were on the EP,
yeah,
I thought to myself, I'm in the shit here. These guys are doing this like proper decent. You know, I'd never heard it sound as good.
yeah,
You know, I've watched them live and I love them live and all that lot, but I'd never heard them recorded. And as good as that, and they were just demo recordings, and that just, you know, I had a lot of respect for the guys who were in the band at that time for what they'd achieved, you know. So to me,
can I also just interject there by saying that there were quite a lot of songs who didn't even make the grade of recording, but we played them live so many times, and they were great songs.
yeah,
And do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And like we played. Can you remember, Lee? What was it called? Oh God, I can't remember the name at the moment. That really grindcore one that starts off.
Extirpation.
Extirpation, that's the one. You know.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of songs floating about anyway.
Yeah.
Well, they were the 3 that you chose for the EP, though, weren't they? And you know, they were the 3 that I was initially taught to learn.
Yeah.
And, like I say, it was a case of it was a DIY release. The drummer Justin was tasked. Well, I think he volunteered to do the mixing and mastering, and yeah, it was just a case of let's get this over the line, because you know it'd been a lot of years since stuff had come out, you know. So
yeah. Well, the next journey is obviously Burning the Mortal Coil, and we will talk about that in a minute. But even for yourself, Max, I know that you had left the band, I don't know whether it was 18 months, 2 years or something like that. But what was it that brought you back into the band again? How easy or difficult a decision was it for you to come back into the band again?
Well, none of it's been easy, but basically Lee just asked me, you know, do you want to put the vocals on? And I was like, yeah, sure, man. You know, it's at the time, you know, I'm not going to go over the kind of the ways, you know, the kind of ways when I left and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's just things were how they were. But Lee brought me back into the fold, and I can just say that, really. You know, come down. I'll be honest with you, Ricky. He said, we're going to do these, and we're going to honour Phil. And I knew that because he was in Death Collector, that he had sort of like a bit of the moxie behind him to make things happen a bit quicker than he could if he was just me and him on our own.
Yeah.
As we were pre-Death Collector, you may say, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I thought, yeah, okay, we'll go for it. And then all of a sudden, it came at me like a train. There was a lot of songs to do, and I had a lot of lyrics to write.
So they didn't even have the lyrics ready for you then?
No. I understand, Ricky. A lot of the songs that have been used on there, they were floating around. As I said, just before all the bad things happened, like when Phil got sick and stuff, we used to go down to this hall. It's near where Lee lives. It's on the side of a mountain called Corneyville, a beautiful place. And it's a church, just a village church hall on its own.
Yeah.
And then we got permission to jam in there, pursuant to local farmers' rules of decibels and stuff. And we called it the Hall of Flies. And a lot of them songs I heard just jammed in there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I hope though, Lee, when you asked him to come back, you still made him audition twice for the part.
Pardon?
No, it was a no-brainer. He was the only man for the job.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it happening any other way. It wouldn't have been Severe Lacerations without Max.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. How difficult was it for you, Max, for like your vocals because you hadn't done anything for like 18 months, 2 years or whatever like that, and then all of a sudden you've got to get to know 8 songs, 10 songs, sing them, practice them, and record them. How was it for you and your vocal cords?
It was surprisingly easy, actually, Ricky, because we kind of broke it all down in sessions and stuff. You know, I was writing as we go, and then how do I say it? We get the lyrics and then I'll belt down there, main lead, bash it out. That's about the basic thing of it. But it felt really comfortable just in his living room, actually just smashing it out. And it got easier and easier as time went on. I think there was one occasion I went down there. I was a little bit under the influence, you may say. And I think we tried to record To Kill that day on my vocals. And when I listened to it back, excuse me, I thought, no, I can just hear right there. I'm not up to it. So it was just a case of going back down and re-recording it.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But I did find it actually quite... Lee gave me a lot of encouragement. And we decided because the album as it is, like we probably won't play it live. I don't know if you know what I mean. So I thought I'm just going to mess about with loads of vocals and stuff. So that's where all the screams and moans and things came from and stuff. Just me and Lee messing around there and him egging me on and that kind of thing. And it actually came out quite all right.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I think so anyway.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And if Lee's egging you on to do things, then you definitely respond because he's quite a scary guy, isn't he? He's quite, oof. Anyway. But what about how easy or difficult was it because you're looking to be like a full-time band again with 4 or 5 members and hopefully potentially going to be like playing gigs in the future. So how difficult was it to get Callum on drums, for example, and how easy or difficult was it to convince Ryan to come back on with the bass?
They were actually asked to join the band prior to the recording starting, and us 3 were rehearsing whilst Phil was poorly, and I said, look, I always believed he would get better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would just say to him, look, you concentrate on everything that you have to do and get yourself everything that needs to happen. Yeah. And I will hammer away at these lads and we'll keep practicing. And when you come back, you will hit the ground running because these 2 will know the tunes. And, Phil obviously knew the tunes. And that was always the plan. That was always my vision or my thoughts, should I say.
Yeah.
When it became evidence that it was looking unlikely that things weren't going to turn out that way, I basically said to Ryan and Callum, we need to just hang this on the wall for a while, if you will.
Yeah.
Want of a better word. And we'll see what happens further down the line. Now, I think during that period, we're talking about possibly a year where we weren't rehearsing.
Yeah.
Right, and we're doing everything we can for Phil. I think the guys kind of forgot the songs that they'd learned, and which is no fault of their own, I guess. But when it come to doing the album, or when the decision was made to do this album, and I set this target of Phil's birthday, December the 12th, from the day following his funeral, which was in April, there was no way them lads were going to pull all this together. And that's when I said, look, I'm going to have to do this. I hope you don't mind, but I'm setting out to do this by myself. I'll do, we'll use the drums that me and Phil used to rehearse to, because there were always electronic drums.
Yeah.
Them drums that are on that album, they're the ones that we did play too, And the bass is easy anyway, so I was going to do that as well. And thankfully, all the lads, all respect to them, and and I'll never can't thank them enough for it, basically. But they said, yeah, we understand what you need to do, and they just basically stepped aside and let us get on with it.
Yeah.
But they're chomping at the bit to get back and get back rehearsing now, and now we know, we have an idea of the future now. It's things could be a bit more.
It must have been a lot of pressure on yourself. There must have been times in the process when you were like, I just can't do this. I can't, it's just too much at the moment. Or were you?
Absolutely not.
No,
absolutely
good.
not.
I was hoping you'd say.
I always think back, like, this is nothing compared to what he's going through or what he went through. All I'm being asked to do here is play this riff. If it takes 20 times, it's pissing me off. So what? It's nothing compared to what he went through. So I never felt that once.
Yeah.
Get it done,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say likewise. I would be sat at work just at my boarding desk security job at the time, day in or day afternoon, morning, afternoon. The files would come through. I could listen to them and just, pick a quiet time to myself and think, right, I'll get stuck into these lyrics. I've got the time to do it, I kind of forced them out of myself, really. But
well, what an end product you've got. Absolutely stunning. And I'm just going to put it there for everybody to hopefully see. Oh, for goodness sake, there it is. Severe Lacerations. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Contact the band. Yeah, that's better. Thank you very much. I shouldn't sit under the light. Appreciated. But yes, how easy or hard is it to get the name of Severe Lacerations out there again? I mean, because in some ways you can look at this being a new band again, and with what happened with COVID and things like that, you can get like one-man projects. You can get people recording in the bedroom, stuff like that. There were so many bands coming out of the woodwork, or one-man projects out of the woodwork. How easy or difficult is it to get the name of Severe Lacerations out there again?
well, I think we're starting to get it out there already with this album.
Yeah,
it's picking up the kind of traction with yourself and a lot of things else in the line. As far as playing live goes, I would say, for myself included, the days are like wanting to look ahead to every weekend and book a gig and this and be available for every gig. They're kind of not there for me anymore. Show me AJ, I'm afraid, Ricky.
yeah.
But just like, I think it's just like a lot of things. You could get the odd thing out there, and it's more of an event, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So who in the band is responsible for like the social media and the promotion? Because it is like independent release and stuff like that. So it's a DIY or die attitude. So who's taking care of all that for you?
It was Phil's job once over. We kind of just, I don't know, we sort of take it in turns, if you will. Which is fair enough. I mean, we don't. Well, hopefully, we don't come across as cringy with the stuff that we write, and we won't just post anything for the sake of posting. We just want to just be steady away and kind of still involve them old school rules of engagement, where you're not ramming it down people's throats day in, day out, and as long as people know where to find you, then that's a good thing. Can I just go back to your previous question as well and just add some further words to Max's?
Okay.
I don't think it was difficult to get the name out, because the lads in the previous version of the band, e.g. Alan, Phil, Justin, Max, Tighty, they've done a lot of good work over the years.
Yeah.
David Kiggins as well, Kiggy, the previous bass player, when he was involved, they've done a lot of gigs all up and down the county and various cities away and stuff like that. So the band is known from what I would class as probably the most successful period of the band.
Yeah.
It's just a case of picking up that ball again and going on with it, So it's not finished. It's not over.
Yeah.
You know.
I couldn't put a fair assessment there myself. You know.
No, certainly delighted to hear it. But with all your musical endeavours in the past and things like that, you know all the tools and all the tricks of the trade. You know what to do, what not to do, who to talk to and who not to talk to, and stuff like that. So keep that momentum going. I'm just going to ask a cheeky question before I go into the album, because some of the songs I'd imagine are like years old, and now that you're working more as a band, have you got any new material that you're looking at just now, or are you holding things off and let this album do its work first?
I think it would be. I think it's only fair to do, you know, to let this album do its thing and go as far as you can before starting on with new stuff. But in answer to your question, yes, there is new material, but it's new old material that deserves a revisit.
Yeah. I take it you must have, when you're looking at Phil's stuff, you must have found a plethora of riffs and a huge number of almost completed songs and things like that. You couldn't believe what you found.
Yeah, there's ideas, you know, and there's actually I think 2 songs that didn't make the album because they had Phil's demo drums over the top.
Yeah.
And the songs where he used his guitars on the album had no drums. They were just done. That was just Phil playing to a click track. Okay. And I was fortunate to be able to find those. The songs with the demo drums, to edit those drums out, like, you know, basically eliminate those frequencies of those bass drums and those snares that he put in, just for us to learn's sake.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of work for the engineer. So again, given the time constraints of, what was it, 8 months, something like that, I think it was too big of an ask to work on getting rid of those drums, only to replace them with the ones that we would have used, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a couple of songs that are still out there of Phil's, but again, you know, they've got them drums on top, so they didn't make the album. But there's stuff in there that I know he would be happy for us to mess around with or reuse or rejiggle, and, you know, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully
that's the kind of thing I used to like about jamming with Phil anyway.
Yeah.
He was never a shredder. He was never a that kind of guy. Like he I think he thought he wasn't up to it. You know, God knows why. But he used to send me all the, how do I say, all the files and stuff, and he would just come. It would just come together in your ear. So
yeah,
them kind of Lee's talking about, like, you know. I think what I'm trying to say is, like, I think I got sidetracked there. Is Lee would send me these things. This is what I was trying to when I was writing the lyrics for the album. He'd send me the files, and I'll just recognize the riffing in there somewhere. So it was easy to write to. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. We're actually going to have a wee section.
I really did have, you know, I don't want to go, ooh, but I really did have a kind of weird, close, symbiotic relationship with Phil when it came to sending a riff and sending a lyric back. He would send it, I would love it. I'd send a lyric back, he would love it, and it was cool, you know.
Well, and the result speaks for themselves, absolutely. And the result was Burning the Mortal Coil.
I think I just said it like a wanker there because I'm a bit wasted, like, so sorry about that.
Don't be daft, man. Don't be daft. All is good. All is good. But Burning the Mortal Coil came out in various versions in last month with the picture disc, as we just saw, CD and streaming versions, of course, in the usual places. But yeah, I was just wondering if you'd ever thought of keeping with the old school aesthetics and going with tapes, for example. And how does it feel to finally get the new music out there for the masses to hear and show that Severe Lacerations are still alive?
I'd say at least you go there with the with the tapes option, because that was never an option, I don't think.
No.
Or do you?
No. I understand I understand that they're in demand again. A lot of people crying out for tapes, and there's a lot of people prepared to do them as well, which is, another good thing. But we just all I had in mind at first was, to honor this guy. To me, the ultimate tribute would be release this album on a picture disc, and I would be completely happy with that.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough to get help with the production of a CD as well. To get that done in time was like, that was a huge bonus, an unexpected bonus as well.
Yeah.
But to think about other products just now, maybe, I don't know, maybe 6 months' time, who knows? But
yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting. Like, I've been in touch with Andy Bennett from Hibernoid, and the album was released in 1994, but now a vinyl company approached them and saying, like, we want to release your album from 1994 on vinyl, so there are these tiny obscure labels out there, and I know one up here in Scotland that would be interested, so we'll see.
Ricky, you just said that about 10 years ago, that actually happened to me, 10, 12 years ago. Well, you just said there, I won't waffle on, but the band where I started out in, we released an album back in the day.
Yeah.
Thought it was dead buried, and then all of a sudden, I found the messages. Next thing you know, it was released on CD, and
Yeah. It's great though, isn't it? There's a demand for it, so why not put it out? And who knows? You might get approached to do it. It's just another thing in the pocket, isn't it? So who knows? Who knows?
Not one that one.
That's great. Thanks very much for that, guys. But with all the years as being Severe Lacerations, I'm going to ask both of you this. It'll be interesting to know, how would you say the new Severe Lacerations compares to that of the previous incarnations of Severe Lacerations? That isn't easy to say, by the way. And do you think that you've found the sound that you've been looking for with Burning the Mortal Coil? So, Max, how would you say that the album compares to what you had before?
I would say songwriting-wise, it's a natural progression of just all the guys in the band who've been in the band and the songwriting and stuff.
Yeah.
Sound-wise, we can go to that on another one because that's just off the charts. But yeah, I mean, I personally can't and wouldn't speak about like how Severe Lacerations was pre. When I was there, that's where Lee can come in.
Yeah.
But I think that, I think we did all right. We're doing all right anyway. Doing whatever.
Yeah. No, cheers. Thanks for that, Max. Thank you. What about yourself, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, thinking back to, the original, the older versions, should we say, and the sound that I was after when we first started out was kind of led towards, like the Hoffman Deicide-y, that real nasty, that early Deicide stuff. That always thinged in my mind. As time went on, and when I left the band in 2005, it went through various lineup changes, and I think it was Alan, the guitarist prior to me returning, who wanted to go down the HM2 route, the Swedish sound, with the chainsaw thing. And I know Phil was a big Dismember and Entombed fan, and he took that right on board. So you listen to the Death is the Shepherd of Mankind EP, and obviously it's full on HM2, because when I rejoined this, Max did say to me, he said, you're going to have to come to a compromise with Phil about your guitar sounds. He said, because at the moment it's kind of like full on HM2. And, I can't just...
Nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Sorry?
Nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No.
There-
There isn't. But it is kind of a. I won't say a one-trick pony, but it does limit you to, you know, certain elements that I was originally wanting to do anyways, you know, we were originally doing prior to leaving.
Yeah.
And you know, it was like you can't just walk back in and say, oh, you know, HM2, it's, you know, it's shite or whatever, and try and change things. So you know, respectful of the lads' wishes, and you know, did the sound that they asked for. Phil even told me, like, you know, what his settings were on his recordings and things like that, and you know, which evidently became helpful later on.
Yeah.
But my thing with Phil, when there was only me and him jamming together up at the practice hall up on the moors there, you know, we talked about this, and I was tweaking my sound on the sly. I was turning my HM2 pedal down, you know, because like I wanted things to be heard rather than just this, you know, this source. Yeah, I wanted each pick to be heard as well, which you don't get. So I was tweaking my sound, and on one of the jams, he's like, you know, this is sounding good. And I said to him, yeah, Phil, I'm using fucking HM2 sensibly, you know. And it's like, rather than just get it and just dime it all, you know, back things off and let more of the amp breathe and things like that, you know. And do you want me to discuss how this was put together?
Can I just put in there, Lee, if you don't mind? I think Lee's got a good point there, and I agree with every kind of salient point.
Yeah.
And it's just that we kind of went through that period in the band with Alan's a great guy, fucking bang on.
Yeah.
You know, we got him in there when we needed him, like, and he stayed there, you know, through all the times.
Yeah.
But there was no kind of other mix in there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I used to kind of like, before then, I used to kind of like mix with Phil with other kind of bands. But after that, it was just like, you'd have to go through the HM2 filter. And I'm like, oh, God. Another one of them, you know. I think I raised it up at a practice once. Actually, I think Justin did. This is a bit of a funny story. Before Lee was in the band, Alan was playing a song. I'm sure he'll laugh at this. I know he will, because he's going to watch it. So anyway, he played this, you know, what do you all think? And Justin said, fuck off. He goes, why? Because we're going to get sued. So that there needed to be a mix in the styles, I think, because that's what I like. I like, you know, as you know, all death metal styles.
Yeah.
And all thrash metal styles and everything else, and mix it in there, you know.
Yeah. No, cool. Thanks, Max. Lee, you were going to say about the sound. You were going to go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the way it's eventually panned out was when I went in search of what I had of Phil's guitar playing, you know, which basically started the day after his funeral. That's when I was like, right, I'm starting on this now.
Yeah.
And I went through every single email that I ever sent, that we ever sent back and forth from day one. And
it's like year zero.
yeah, and it was like, right, there's a full song. I've got him on a full song. Brilliant. There's another one. Yeah, brilliant. There's part of that riff on that song, right? Okay, can use that. And it was like basically trying to gather these pieces of him. Yeah. Now, typically, you know, when you would record stuff, they'd be sent to the engineer in WAV file format, which is a lot bigger than an MP3. An MP3 is obviously a lower quality thing, and well, because these were like email ideas that me and Phil were just firing at each other at all times of day and night. You know, we're not going to send each other massive WAV files. We would just send each other MP3s. So all I had of Phil was all in MP3 format, and when I approached Gord Olson and asked if he would do this, and thankfully he agreed. I explained the situation. I said, look, I'm going to have to do the left side guitars. I'm going to have to do the right side guitars. And what I've got to fill is like, it's just MP3s. Some songs complete, some not. And the parts that weren't complete, like I said before, thankfully shared with me his exact settings.
Yeah.
So I was able to, finish off the bits that he didn't get round to doing. And so what we did there is obviously WAV files on the left, WAV files on the right, which had HM2 in them as well. But right down the middle of this mix, kind of like how the Entombed album was mixed originally anyways, you have this full-on HM2,
yeah,
which is Phil. And, I hope nobody gets upset, but like the way I describe or term this is like, he's haunting that mix. He's right through the middle of it. He's in the heart of it, basically.
Hey, Lee, how about the word channeling?
Channeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's the way I describe it. I actually describe it to these people, not these people. Sorry, misword there. When I'm describing the album, what we've done,
Yeah.
I say, you got together all the remaining files and everything. And what you couldn't do, you recorded with his own specifics, what he used to do. So in effect, channeling him. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's essentially where and how he fits into this. And like the people that have heard it, particularly like other guitarists that I've spoken to as well, they've said like that actually complements that tone really, really well. Having that through the middle like that, it works.
Yep.
It sounds really, really savage, So it was just like, we've got to get the lad on this,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's got to be on it. And like, obviously I wish I could have had more. I wish I could have had his WAV files, so he was on the right and I was on the left.
Yeah.
And then we both did something for the middle. But what happened, but he's on it. And that's the thing that I'm happiest about.
Absolutely.
It is the most painful thing,
Yeah.
He's on there finally,
Yeah.
The posthumous is that the right word?
Yeah. Well, as you said, make sure they get heard, and they certainly are. So, but the album itself, it's called Burning the Mortal Coil. So why was it called that? How did you come up with the title? Was it something that it wasn't decided yet until Max, you got the lyrics and you wrote the lyrics, and you came up with the title? How did you come about it all?
Well, Ricky, like Lee said at the time, we were just exchanging files and lyrics and stuff, and we were coming up. It was actually, we've got an album title, yeah, we could do with it. And I just one day started writing this song, as I do, and all of a sudden something will jump out.
Yeah.
I send it to Lee. He goes, "What about that?" I goes, "Well, yeah, that actually jumped out to me as well." So I was actually writing the lyrics for that actual final song on the album. The one that blasted off in a kind of a Morbid Angel, Hate Eternal style.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's where the title came from, and it ties in with the lyrics.
Yeah.
Lee just said, "Please tell me we could have that as the album title." I goes, "Well, yeah, it works for me." It really was as simple as that. Just pick a line out. Yeah, cool. But
well, can I actually say, Max, off the album, Memento Mori is actually my favourite song because it doesn't have your vocals on it. No, actually, when I first heard that album, I did say to Lee, can I play Burning in the Mortal Coil, because that was the song that stood out for me as well. So what a way to end the album.
I mean, I just sat there at work. If you want the truth,
yeah.
If you want, let's have some lyrics. And I just thought about you know, we were all up there visiting Phil and stuff and everything, and it was all, heavy time. So, and I knew the guy, I thought, what would it be like for a man, not him exactly, what would it be, man, for a man to sit there and face his, inevitable,
Yeah.
and I just turned into death metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simply that.
Well, Max, that's actually what I'm going to be talking about. With you being the vocalist of the band then, I think we kind of touched on that. Did you do all the lyrics, or did you welcome contribution for the lyrics? And I also wondered what type of lyricist you are. Like, have you always got a piece of paper and a pen on you? You open the front door, you see something and take a note of it and you write about it later on? Do you watch a lot of documentaries? Do you read a lot of war books, history? Where do you get your lyrical inspiration from?
All of the above, mate. All the above. Could you start getting there, mate? Because I think you said something I could have been off track.
What was the question?
Yeah. Well, what did you say there? Repeat the question, please, Ricky, please.
Yeah, of course I can, of course. I said, with you being the vocalist of the band, did you write all the lyrics, or do all member...
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Lee wrote Unholy Revenge, all his. But apart from that, I wrote all the rest lyrics. It's as you say. I read books all the time,
Yeah.
Watch documentaries and stuff. I will draw particular attention while we're here. It's a blag, we may as well. And I think the guy will appreciate it. The song Red Wraith.
Yes.
Is all about a book of books, a series of books I read called Exoskeleton. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're absolutely fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And I got in touch with the guy actually. Messaged him, can I use your, we all use this as lyrics and stuff. And he was like, he's got back and stuff, everything. Yeah. So Red Wraith is to go off on that one.
So it's a brilliant side of social media. You can contact anybody now as to whether they reply or not, but you usually find 99 times out of 100 they do reply. Same with the bands. I love that keeping in touch with you guys and things. But yeah, so your lyrics are all of the above. You can see things in the streets, but do you know, I've interviewed like Carl Willits, and he waits for the music to be done and then he writes the lyrics. So he basically does nothing for 18 months, 2 years, and then he's got 2 weeks before he goes into the studio and he better start writing some lyrics. Or I've got like Kondo from Brain Bath, for example, and he says he's already got 15 songs lyrically written for the next release, So do you have a wee notebook or something like that you've got lyrics in, or do you wait to hear the music first before you write your lyrics?
Yeah, I actually do. I kind of type things in before and stuff. Just it's not so much long things, but just little phrases, and it can come from films and anything.
Yeah.
Just little things you can weave into stuff, and then Lee could maybe send me a riff, like, it'd be like a mournful riff, right, I'll weave that in there. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but
yeah, it sounds like you wait for the music to be done and then you do your magic.
Yeah, just like Carl, I wouldn't like to think what he does is with stuff, but I'm the same thing, just what comes in, have a look around. I am, a news hound and everything, so but I don't let it influence me.
Yeah, cool. And also in the vocal department, hopefully this will be the case when you get to play live again. And I know that you've been a vocalist in the past, Lee. So are you going to be doing vocals on the live front as well?
I would love that.
And maybe with future releases, absolutely. And maybe with future releases as well. Like, are you looking to have like 2 vocalists? Because I'll tell you, like, as I've said to many people, on the live front, when you see like at least 2 vocalists, it just adds so much to the gig goer, the experience, So what are your thoughts, Lee, in contributing vocals?
I would certainly be up for it. I would probably go down the mid-range route rather than growling, or I can't match Max's screams. I used to try them years ago, but I certainly can't match that, and certainly can't match the low end. But I'd probably do the mid range route, if you will.
Yeah.
And I look back to remember the guy called Jared Anderson.
Yeah.
From Hate Eternal. He passed away. Yeah.
Yeah.
He fronted Morbid Angel for a while, around about 2001. And we got to see him live a couple of times, both in Morbid Angel and Hate Eternal. And like, that guy was pure death metal.
Yeah.
And when they did Hate Eternal, he had Rutan on one side and Anderson on the other. And yeah, you're right. It's just that two vocalist combo really, really works. So yeah, I'd certainly be down for some of that. But as far as the album was concerned, like, in doing the guitars and then asking the bass player to step aside and replacing the drummer with a computer, I'm not going to say Mac's going to do some backing vocals as well, because I've kind of done enough here, you know. So yeah, that was obviously all left out of Max, but yeah, we'll see in the future. We'll see. It's certainly something I would like to do.
Max, this is recorded, so he did say it. So keep note of that, and yeah, see what happens in the future then. But that would be cool. That would be very, very cool.
I think it kind of works what they would say, just to put in. Every time, remember the first album, Brutal Truth kind of delivery, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of thing I would go for, because the rest of the time I can do the death metal, you know, no problemo.
Yeah.
And then jump into a scream while they just growl.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Mix it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the best experiences I saw live was like Nile, and when they were doing like Black Seeds of Vengeance, and it was the three of them that were doing it. It was, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, and that was late 90s, I think I saw them, or mid 90s I saw them, or something like that, and I still remember it. Just absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. So hopefully that'll come
The
about.
only thing that broke the ambience was him going back to the computers to program for the next song.
Yeah, absolutely. But talking about the artwork for a second then, for Burning the Mortal Coil, so who done the artwork for you?
It was done by me initially.
Yeah.
And then I was unhappy with the results. Well, I was happy to a point, but I could see a lot of fundamental flaws in it. And
well, kind of running out of money as well. So, you know,
it's like, you know, again, it's all DIY. We have a mutual friend, a lad from Whitehaven called Scott Wayman, who is, you know, seemingly very good at graphic art and Photoshop. I think he's a tattooist as well, isn't he, Max?
He is definitely.
And also, it's like, can you help me out with this? I need X, Y, and Z doing to it in order for me to be happy. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Give me 5 minutes. And it was like, send it back. I'm like,
wow,
okay, that's pretty good. Can you just do that a little bit more? Yeah, okay. Another 5 minutes, and then, you know, and like, I think after about the fifth change, she was like, right, I'll finish it tomorrow. And I thought, I'll push my luck a little bit, but we got there. Yeah, we got there in the end. That was, like I said, the front cover, but the back cover where there's just the three of us, that was an absolute fluke.
Can you do me a favour? Can you hold up again while you're talking about it? The picture disc.
Certainly. Yeah. The back cover, we actually took a band photo.
Hang for a sec. I'll
yeah, the three of you.
Yeah, we took the band photo. There was actually 5 of us when that was taken.
Yeah.
And
can you see this?
There you go. Lovely.
Oh, nice.
We'll put this on our wall.
Lovely.
Nice. Well done, man. Well done. Yeah, there was 5 of us when this was taken, because this was like when we were, you know, the full band, if you will.
Yeah.
And it was basically I just shot a video on an iPhone and looked out for the best frame to grab. you know, where we were all stood and looking comfortable or mean or whatever. And
At the Hall of Flies.
yeah, but thankfully, like you look at that and I've cropped it obviously because there was only 3 of us who did this, and then to blow it up to 12-inch and it not be like super pixelated, and it doesn't look that bad on the picture vinyl as well. I just think it was an absolute, just an absolute fluke, and I'm so proud of that.
Yeah,
that little moment in time there, you know.
yeah,
And that picture there on the back of a picture vinyl was all I could envisage from day one. That was it. That was the goal. Just that there, right there.
yeah.
That was not in mind. The front cover. All I could think of was that.
Yeah.
You know.
And to complete that package, you wrote absolutely beautiful and stunning words in the memory of Phil and things like that. So, as he said, and as it's on the your letter to him almost. It says make sure they get heard, and they certainly are. But staying with the visual side of the album, you done a video for Terror Signal. I think you also done like a lyric video for Burning the Mortal Coil as well. Am I right in saying that? Yeah. Is that going to conclude the visual side of the album? Because I know that things are time and money and things like that. Or do you see yourself maybe doing like another video or anything like
that? Max, I don't know. We've not talked about it. I'm not sure we need to do it.
How long was that day for you, Max?
I'm not saying not really we won't do it. I'm saying like Lee says, there's been no discussion there. But who knows?
No,
there's also never say never gauge in life, and you know.
Yeah. Now, just wondering, like, how long that Terror Signal, how long was that day for you, Max? Like, having to sing the song over and over again, and where was it recorded and everything?
I recorded this song in Lee's living room anyway, as you know. So he asked me to come back down, and we did that in his garage. You know, the video.
So who was it that recorded it for you?
Pardon?
Who was it that recorded it for you?
Lee.
I just did it with an iPhone.
Wow.
Just an iPhone, a smoke machine, a load of lights. We were in his garage. We'll kind of go for him. Like I said, I went back, brutal truth,
Yeah.
I kind of, that kind of thing. And he just spread this place out with so much dry ice. It was mental.
Good stuff.
If you've ever seen films like the Football Factory and stuff, where we're all smoking weed and stuff, and they all walk out and there's all smoke coming out and stuff, that was what it was like. I came out coughing, and it wasn't because of that. I wish it was, But we just did that, smashed it out,
It just wanted to go back to that again. Them old school rules of engagements where it's DIY, and we didn't want to just release the song as like, here's a song, and then you sit there and listen to it. We thought, well, we had...
Yeah, you've got to watch a whole movie and everything,
Yeah, exactly. The thing with Memento Mori and putting the pictures of Phil up beforehand, and and it was like another visual tribute to him, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then to launch right into Terror Signal, which is how we wanted the album to go anyways. And we just thought, right, we'll just do a video, put it out there, and people are going to get a very good idea now about what this is all about. And see how it goes from there. But yeah, as far as like making it's concerned, it was just an iPhone on a tripod, and like Max said, just stuck some lights in and turned the bloody smoke machine on. There we go.
Well, it still looks good. I was going to be cheeky there, Max, but this isn't the time for it.
Go ahead. Go for it.
No, but what was I going to say there? We kind of talked about it earlier, like the mixing and mastering. You got Gord Olsen to do it for you, and how he done it for you. how easy was it to convince him to do the project for you? And how did you know of Gord Olson? How did you get in touch with him? I obviously know the answer to this, but just for the viewers, what made you choose Gord Olson, or why not go to somebody like Dan Swano or somebody like that?
My thing with Gord Olson, I mean, I've been a follower of his music for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And you know, his band Darkened, you know, I was a huge fan of those. And clearly with the connection with Death Collector and having the experience of working with him.
Yeah.
When I first done that 3-track EP with Death Collector, just to divert a little, you know, for a little while, like I was crapping myself all the way through this, yeah. And he's like, "No, you've got track 1 done, man. That's cool. It sounds good." And I thought, freaking hell, you know, because Gord's the guy with like the, you know, the microscope listening to everything, and yeah, and there's like, yeah, track 2, you're nearly there, dude, and it's like this, you know, this guy's like really supporting and positive,
yeah,
and uplifting and encouraging, and he gave me the confidence to believe that I could actually do it, you know.
yeah.
And then when he sent the stuff back to the Death Collector lads, they were like, yeah, sounds good, you know, let's move on to what needs doing next. And I thought, wow, I've done it, you know. And again, in doing the album with them, similar sort of deal, you know. He was very encouraging throughout, and I learned during that process of working with him, like if you asked for something, he would give you exactly what you wanted. You know, he knows exactly. He's the guy's a genius. I can't put it in any other words.
Yeah.
He's got a very good ear and he's got a very good understanding of what's required. And when I set out to do this, I think it was maybe a week after starting, and I thought, right, I'm going to ask the question now, and I'd like to build myself up, and I was literally praying and had my fingers crossed that he would say yes. Got to have a video chat with him and basically, you know, told him what had happened and what I'm setting out to do, and like he said it would be an absolute honor, you know. And yeah, I ended that phone call and I kind of burst into tears for maybe half an hour, because I just thought, I know fine well this is going to happen now.
Yeah.
We're going to do it for Phil, you know what I mean? Because Gord's on board. And that was all the reassurance that I needed, you know. So yeah, and you know, we had the group where there was the 3 of us on the messenger, and he felt like the 4th member of the band. Obviously, there's me, Max, and Phil, and Gord was the 4th member. You know,
definitely.
Yeah. So
well, I will go so like a mentor, because anything he asked for, I thought, wow, you know, I've got this guy on board, so I'm going to go for it. You know, what you ask for, I'll do it. You know, no problem, as long as you know.
So do you see this being like a formula that you would definitely use again?
I've already asked him about the future, and he said he would be more than happy to work with us again. And that again just sealed the whole. It just sealed the whole thing, and you know, we've done Phil proud, and Gord's proud that he's done Phil proud, and you know, everything he's ever said about it's been positive, and yeah, it just. Why would you go anywhere else when you've got, you know, a relationship and a friendship with somebody as cool and as knowledgeable as that? It'd be foolish too. So yeah, I would recommend to anybody, if you're fortunate enough and he's got the time, get in touch with God to sort your album out, seriously, because he'll do it brilliantly.
Definitely done a fine job. But going to the recording of the album, I know with what you've been seeing, Lee, you spend hours every night to make sure that I was ready and everything like that. But for Max, how was the recording process for you? You kind of talked about it earlier when you were doing like section by section. But were there times where you're like, no, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with this, I need to do it again, I need to do it again, and time after time? Or did you find that you were managed to do like a song in one take, for example? Or was there a particular song that you just couldn't nail, you weren't ever happy with?
No, I think I nailed it all. Well, no, I didn't nail it all. I had to go down a few times and stuff. And as I said before, Lee would actually ask for another push forward. You know,
Yeah.
you put something in there and stuff. But
did you call
no,
Lee a few different names throughout the process?
no, we had. Do you know something, Ricky? I'm going to call it on this. We had such a great time. We had such a fucking great time.
Yeah.
Apart from the day when
apart from the subject at hand, it was a weird summer, preceded by a weird winter and everything like that. But
Yeah.
I would go down there, you'd pick us up, and we would just. It wasn't like going in the studio, but the thing is, I'm going to start on waffle here. Like Lee said to me that he started going on about the stuff that God could do. Like, you go, so if you ever flag on your voice, he can fix it. I thought, well, okay, no problem. But I just went into it anyway. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Can't deny it.
I don't think I was flavour of the month, Ricky, when I forgot to press record.
Oh, yeah. Because I had to go down again, didn't I?
Yeah. Hey, bear in mind, this is not without punishment on my part, because Max lives 32 miles away, so I had to drive 32 miles to pick him up, 32 miles to bring him back home, redo one verse, and then 32 miles to take him back, and then another 32.
Indeed.
It was like 120 odd miles just for one verse. That was, again, but that's nothing compared to what Phil went through, like I said. So it needed to do it. End of.
Absolutely.
But you like the guy you like Tom Shaw's out of Boston. You want perfection, and you'll go to it. You'll go to the get it.
And I bet ever since you've never failed to press the record button. So it was a valuable lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Thanks very much for that, guys. So I really appreciate the time that you spent with me tonight. I do only have a few questions left, but I'm just delighted that everybody's getting to see and hear everything about Severe Lacerations, because Burning the Mortal Coil definitely deserves to be heard. But now that the world has opened its doors to playing live again, I noticed gigs. Well, I'm just wondering, where can we see Severe Lacerations in the future, for example? What can we? Is there anything that you can announce, or still in the early stages? What are you thinking?
We're still in the early stages. Again, getting Ryan and Callum up to speed with the songs that they never got to learn.
Yeah.
Prior to the pause, should we say? Also, this band was always it was always a 2-guitar band.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would work with just me and Ryan. And it's not about I want to play solos live. I mean, I would sacrifice that if I wasn't feeling up to it. Trust me. But the sound is. You don't get that same dynamic when everything stops and left rips away with a next riff, and then right comes in. You just can't do that. It's not the same. So
yeah, I agree.
When the time is right, then we'll seek to go in search of a guy to carry on Phil's legacy, shall we say?
Absolutely.
And get him up to speed with the songs as well. And
I'm glad that you're not looking at this as just like a recording project only. You are looking to secure the band front and get out there playing live, because you want to spread the legacy of Phil as much as you possibly can. So hopefully that'll work in the future.
Well, can I just say, you couldn't get a guy just come in and say, right, you need to play this. it would need to be treated delicately. You might say, right, you got to come in and do this because of this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Would you say like that sheds a whole light on things? Would you say, Lee?
Yeah. It's important. It's a very important role, and personally, like given the work that me and Max have put into this, and given the work that Phil had put into it as well, it deserves to be done properly.
Yeah.
And we'll never take anything out on the road half-cocked. I mean, I enjoy playing gigs, and I'm sure Max remembers enjoy playing them too. But like, you're not going to enjoy them if you're not playing them properly, or things are going wrong, and
Exactly.
nobody wants that, do they? So when it's 100%,
it has to be 100%.
Yeah, when it is 100%,
Oh
then
no.
Start off local, and get a taste for it again, playing this album and things, and then certainly no qualms in down the M6 or going up to Scotland, no qualms whatsoever. It's
Yep.
Well, good. Certainly keep that in mind. But yeah, I think I've only got like 3 questions left. So say you are playing live, Max, and you've got a half-hour set, for example, or 40-minute set, a half-hour set, and you've got all the songs on the set list. What's the song that you're looking forward to playing live off of Burning the Mortal Coil, and why? So it might be 4th and the 5th on the set list, but you're like, I can't wait to play this one. Why would it be? And I'll ask the same question to you, Lee, in a minute.
Do you know something? I've got to be honest.
You're going to say them all, aren't you?
No. I would say Unholy Revenge. I love it. They gave me this song to, the song structure. He gave me the lyrics, and I just thought, right, I'll go for this, and it was just a blast. Back in the day, if you go back to the first Severe Lacerations EP, there's a song called what was it called again? The Silent Death, that was it called, yeah. And it's the same kind of thing, just a grinding death.
Yeah.
So.
You like your grind, don't you? You're sitting there with your lock-up shirt. You like your grind, and you've talked about brutal truth often enough.
Yeah, I love it, mate.
So that's the song that you've been... Actually, that's the song that I've been playing on my radio show for the last couple of weeks from Severe. So interesting that you say that. But what about yourself, Lee? What's your song of choice and why?
I think... I don't know, the Unholy Revenge thing, I mean, that goes back to about 1998, 1999, more 1999, possibly 2000, when I wrote that, and I was working away from home and feeling pretty pissed off because I was away from my wife, and my son was only 1 year old, and I was getting to see him every weekend.
Yeah.
Excuse me a sec.
It was like... That song used to come across good live, and it's funny how it appeared 4th on the album, because it was always played 4th live in them days as well, and it was kind of like if things hadn't have maybe hit home with the first couple of songs, normally the balloon went up when we played Unholy Revenge, whether it's just that catchy little riff or whatever that kind of guides it through, or well, yeah, that was the one that seemed to do the trick, so to speak. But the song I would most looking forward to play is 100% Burning the Mortal Coil, because again, that song was placed purposely last on the album. I hope the listener has obviously enjoyed the journey of, mine, Max's and Phil's work all the way through. But then you get to the end and it's like, this is, completely faster and more dissonant and more obscure than, the other tracks, so to speak. And it was left there because, or it was positioned there because I believe that that would give a good insight into where musically we'd like to take the next.
Where chapter 2 is going to be.
Yes, yeah, it would kind of carry on from there. So what you've got on the album is actually a good spread of history. You've got To Kill, which was the first song.
Into what you're saying, Lee, and as you well know, we kind of put the lyrics together as well. Like we had to work through what I wrote bit by bit. Just it was like a Frankenstein of a song.
Yeah. We like I say, we had To Kill, which was the first song that was ever wrote, and that was 1998. And then, like I say, Unholy Revenge, a year or two later. And then you've got these the Red Wraith. The Red Wraith is like the, you know, I would class that as one of the highlights of the Phil and Alan era of, you know, and Max and Justin and Kiggy. You know, so that's kind of like the
I wouldn't have thought of it that way before.
The middle part, if you will.
Yeah.
And then all the other songs either side, like Terror Signal, Atavistic, Subjugation. These are songs that me and Phil were jamming when there was just me and Phil.
Right.
So it kind of spreads out from the middle, so to speak. So you do have a good timeline, and Burning the Mortal Coil was like, for me, I personally believed it was the best song I ever wrote, and Immutable, or as Phil used to call it, Dismembery, because until Max ever put lyrics on top, Phil would always call them by what he thought they felt like, you know. And Dismembery, he said to me one day, he goes, I can't do any better than this. So this is like the best song I've ever wrote. And I think it's been kicking around for a lot of years. Max had alluded to that before, because as soon as I sent him it, he goes, I've heard that. And then when I sent it to Alan and said, look, this is, you know, one of the first versions, he goes, Phil was playing that fucking years ago. We never fucking released it, you know. And it's like, but he was so pleased to get that song out for him because it was his favorite song.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a good spread of the history, and in some of the reviews as well, it's been alluded to that there's a good spread of styles, in so much as, you know, it's not just like, you know, with a full-on grind band from start to finish.
Yeah.
Or, you know, with full-on black metal or full-on thrash. There's elements of this. There's, you know, Morbid Angel, Daysidey stuff in there. There's Swedish death metal in there. There's thrash in there. There's doomy bits. There's technical bits. You know, and it's got bits of stuff that we liked to play.
Yeah.
And I think that's all that mattered. I think that's all that mattered to us. We're not going to turn around and say it's got to be done this way, you know.
Yeah. Can I just say something there?
Yeah.
It's like what you just said there, Lee. It's kind of I would say reminded me when the band was first getting gestated. When Phil came into the band, I suggested to everyone, because we'd all been through sort of like, you know, 80s, 90s, you know, thrash, groove bands, maybe bands that don't really appeal to you. So I guess, for once, can we just play the music that appeals to us, our influences and stuff, you know, like Creator and Dismember and Celtic Frost and Voivod, and I'll just throw up any kind of name. And that's how we kind of worked out there.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you mentioned Immutable, because that was actually the song that I listened to a couple of times before I came on here, and it was actually the song that I was going to play on Thursday. But I think after what you said, Lee, I will play Burning the Mortal Coil on Thursday night. So I really do like that song, and that is my favourite song off the album. But when I heard Immutable again, like it was your vocals towards the end of it, Max, like the last half minute. It was like, you're quite good at vocals, by the way. I would keep them in, Lee. I would keep them.
Oh,
well, I'm kind of influenced by you. You know, I'm not a spring chicken, so I like Norwegian black metal, and I like people who, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It begins with B&M, you know.
Yeah. I can guess who you're talking about.
I love that kind of vocal, like so I'll go for it anytime. So
Yeah. I'm not going to ask who it is. Did you see what I've done there? Anyway, but yes, like I said, thank you very much for your time tonight. But this is probably going to add another 40 minutes onto the discussion, because I'm going to ask you about the instruments that you used for the recording of this album. We'll start off with the easiest one first. We'll start off with you, Max, because I can probably guess that you were given an SM58 and you just fucking sing into it. Or are you a vocalist where you've purchased mics over the years and you went, I like the sound of this one, I like the sound of that one, or are you just SM58?
no, mate, I haven't got the time or the money or the space in my house with my wife and everything to do all that kind of shit, mate. So literally, shall I say, I went out of Lee's house, like I say, we just smashed it out on a battered out mic. You know, literally in his living room.
It was
Yeah.
was the original SM58s that I used to use back in the 90s.
Yeah,
It's
we
still
did have
that
the stuff there. We could have set it all up, but it would have been a ball. I could just say, let's fucking go for it, and that's all it was. And that's how I like it, mate. You know, I'm from the '80s and stuff, so you may gather, you know, all that shit. Like I'll waffle on, but I just like a mic that can get smashed into, and that's it.
I think the thing is as well is, like we did say, that we won't want to go down the route of doing something that he wouldn't be able to replicate live. So
Exactly.
he'll bellow down
Well,
that SM58.
no, I'll disagree there. Our little excursion, you know,
Yeah.
somebody else might have to come in for that, like, but you're right.
Yeah.
One of the
Sorry, I put it in it. I was rude as fuck, like, go on, mate.
one of the best things I've seen live was Steve Austin of Today's the Day, and it was like he had the SM58, but his vocals, he actually swallows the microphone and sings into it and stuff like that, you know. And of course the slabbers and stuff like that. And then you remember he wasn't the headliner. Somebody else has got to use that same microphone. But that was obviously pre-COVID and stuff like that. So I think people are bringing their own microphones now.
Yeah.
But cool.
Well, I'll just be honest. I came back into this and I just roared it out. You know, I haven't got no specifications.
Something tells me you don't practice. If you get 10 fags and a kebab, you that's your prep for recording.
Kind of, you know.
Tesco meal deal.
Yeah, cool. So Lee, I see you've got a guitar pretty much for every day of the week behind you. But so what did you use for the rhythm? What did you use for the leads? What's your amps? What's your pedals? What's your setup, mate?
The rhythm was done with, if you can see, there's that one there.
Cool.
Yeah, second one in.
Yeah.
That's a neck through BC Rich Warlock. That did one side, the right side, if you will.
Okay.
And the other side was done with.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Favourite, yeah. A little bit of Trials of Cloth Worship. It's not exactly to his spec, but I spent a couple of grand doing that thing up.
Wow.
Basically, me and my daughter went pretty much all the way down to London the day after her 18th birthday to pick this up, because these things were like hen's teeth during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was beat to hell. And I just set about and took it to a specialist paint shop and said, you know, I want it this colour, and replaced all the bits on it. So yeah, that's my pride and joy, and that's the one that I used to jam with Phil as well. So that done all everything on the left side of the album, and it did all the solos as well. The bass guitar that I used.
What did you tune it to?
It's all C standard. The bass guitar, it's not actually that one there that's on the wall. I have another one upstairs that was actually owned by Glenn Benton of Dayside. And
sorry, just repeat what you just said.
The bass was done by, it was done with a guitar, a bass guitar, that was once owned by Glenn Benton.
Right?
There's a story there. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I'd love to hear the story, yeah.
Good bad. Oh man, Eric, please don't shout. Right. Basically, during lockdown, I was chugging away one night on the vodka, and I remember Eric Hoffman had wrote something about a guitar that he had for sale, and thought, I wonder what it was. Wonder if it was one of his Ironbirds. So I messaged him on Facebook Messenger, and you know the little, he sees it straight away, so his little icon comes down. I thought, fucking hell, he's seen it. And then he never replied for like 2 hours, and I thought, well, I'm just a fucking pleb. He's obviously not going to get in touch with me about a guitar. You know what I mean? And anyways, I carried on drinking, and then I started going down the rabbit hole of like, you know, Dayside guitars for sale on Google and stuff like that. And I come across his advert on Reverb, which is an instrument selling site.
Yeah.
And it basically said, you know, is this the most evil bass ever? Fucking looked at it. Dayside guitar, once owned by, you know, Glenn Benton, used on the recording of, I think it was Serpents of the Light that he recorded with it. Letter of authenticity, blah, blah, blah. I thought, and it was like available. Fucking hell. So I messaged the lad, and he was in Canada. And I said, you know, would you ship this to the UK? And he said, you got back pretty quickly. He said, yeah, it'll cost you, but I'm prepared to do that. Fucking hell. I said, right, well, give us a total price then, and you know, so I know what I've got to pay. And he got back pretty quick, so I kind of made my credit card go fucking limp forever. Yeah.
What wages you're on? I doubt it.
No, don't be daft. And that was it. I was like, fucking hell, it's coming. You know, I've bought it. I've got this fucking guitar off. It's one of Glenn Benton's old guitars. It's like my childhood fucking hero, you know what I mean? Certainly in them earlier albums, anyways. So that was it. Fucking drinking like fuck. Basically celebrating the fact that I'd scored this fucking unicorn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man. I woke up at 7:30 in the morning. felt like a Viking had buried a fucking one of his axes into my fucking
Wondering how you're going to tell the missus.
Well, that didn't
I bet you
happen.
got it delivered to his work address.
No.
I'm surprised it wasn't delivered to mine.
It was I remember waking up at 7:30 and looking at my phone, and the first thing I seen was a notification off Eric Hoffman, and it said, I'll see if my brother has any for you. And I thought, oh no. Oh no. Now I'm in the fucking shit. You know the crack, they don't fucking speak, and I've asked him, he's gonna go to the trouble to go see Brian, and
shit.
I can't turn around and say, oh sorry mate, I bought one of Glenn's basses, you know what I mean? So I had to like fucking moonwalk out of that conversation, and yeah, he's never said anything about it, thankfully, because we are, you know, we do speak every now and then on Messenger or on Facebook, what have you, you know what I mean? But he's never mentioned anything about it, thank God. But yeah, that's what the bass lines were done. That's what the bass lines were done with on the SL album, and on the Death Collector album, to be fair as well. It's a beauty.
Yeah,
it's an absolute beauty. American made, it's custom made for him. You know what I mean? And I basically said to Angie, like, look, I know I fucked up. I have fucked up. I've spent a lot of money on this, but like,
you ask how much?
No. Because it's an investment for the future.
Yeah.
And it'll only go up in value.
Absolutely.
You know, I've seen them. I've seen subsequent guitars of Eric's that have gone for like 8,000 to 10,000. You know, and you can get a custom one for less than that with better specs. But you know, with a letter of authenticity and things like that, I said to her, look, 10, 20 years time, you know, when Dayside and no more, that'll fetch a bit of money, and like, let me enjoy it now, and then she'll enjoy the money when I'm gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that'll be some time away yet, because there's a hell of a lot more to come from Severe Lacerations. Like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you very much for staying on as long as you have. But I thought if it would be a fitting way if to kind of maybe say like a couple of words of what you think Phil would think about the album itself, the artwork, the final product. So what do you think he would say?
You go first, Lee.
Uh,
Well, I'll go first. I used to love sending Phil lyrics because he always go, oh, they're fucking cool. And he'd send me a riff back. So I think he'd be fucking blown away by not just the musical delivery, the lyrics put on top. There's at least two in his name.
Yeah.
And then just the absolute outpouring of love for it all. I think it'd be absolutely,
Yeah.
It would probably put him back in his grave if he came back to life.
Fair shout.
He was a great guy, a nice guy, and like he just loved all the nice things. All the nice things. Sorry, all the nice tributes. It would have absolutely blown him away. Simple.
It was all about positivity, Ricky.
Yeah,
100% all about positivity, and he I know fine well he would probably be beside himself. We've not had hundreds of reviews. We've had a handful, but all of them have been positive. All of them have said positive things, good things about it, and the reaction that the page has got on Facebook.
Put in there, please, just for a single second. When we brought out the Incantation of Sorrow EP, even then, all the reviews that came in, he was blown away by them. So this was absolutely, knock him off his feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be happy. He'd be happy.
No, I know he is. And
mind you, knowing him, he would probably say, "Fucking hell, well, I could have done with just my guitar just a bit there."
Yeah, or Lee, turn up your HM2 pedal.
Yeah. Look, you didn't play that like I told you to play it.
Yeah, riff 3 on Subjugation's slightly out, because I used to take the mickey out of him. I said, have you got an electron riffoscope at home? Because when I was trying to do that Death is the Shepherds of Mankind EP, he was like, he would literally send me an email back and he would say 4 minutes 10 slightly out, 5 minutes 17 wrong note.
And it was talking.
It's just fucking listen to it. How's he got like that in depth? And I thought, like, there's no pulling the wool over this guy's eyes. You know what I mean? You've got to do it properly, and rightly so. Ultimately, Ricky, what I'll say is this: my words to Phil that you asked for, right? I thank him for everything because I absolutely owe him everything, right?
Yeah.
He taught me. I was quite happy to just play to drums that I wrote. No, it's got to be to a click track, right? Turn the drums off, turn all the effects off, just play the fucking guitar to a click track. And if you do it right on that, when everything gets turned back on, it will be perfect, yeah? And the reason why I say I owe him everything is because he taught me how to use Reaper, the recording software as well, which was new to me. I had a home studio, which was like a hard drive thing. That's done me all these years, right? He got me into this online Reaper software and things like that. He taught me how to use that. He taught me how to do all the bits and bobs with it, and more than the basics. And when Andy Whale said to me, "Can you record these brace tracks?" I was confident enough to be able to say yes. If it wasn't for Phil showing me that stuff that I learned through doing that EP, there's no way I'm going to blag to Andy Whale and say, yeah, I can do it when I can't. But thankfully, I was able to do it. And then that opportunity has come back to help this.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to Phil. So yeah. all I can say is we did it,
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure that he gives his full blessings as well as to where you take Severe Lacerations going forward. He wants to keep the name going forward.
Oh, it's like I'm just going to put in. It's just like Lee just said. I couldn't wait to sometimes send him lyrics because you know, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but he just always come back. They're great. Can I change that there? Change that there? They're great. But he'd send a riff to go, but I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, so.
Do you know what's quite
That's
funny, Max, is like he never had a problem with your lyrics, but yes, he had a problem with Lee's tunings and wrong notes and whatnot. So that's what's come out of
kind
that.
of thing. Obviously, I had to explain to people like, this is what I'm writing about. You know, I'm not just writing dodgy things underneath. You know.
Yeah, yeah. But like you said, make sure they get heard, and they certainly are. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do next. Hope to see you in the live front, and I wish all the best for Severe Lacerations. And it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys, and it won't be the last time either. Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers, Ricky.
Cheers, Ricky.